Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the HabWrap. I am your host, as always, Harry Rice, your friendliest, by the way, and funniest source for anything and everything Montreal Canadiens. And my God, what a game we had tonight. We play the Nashville Predators. It was another home game. It's the second, actually, of 4 straight home games, of course. If anyone didn't see the home opener last game, go look it up. You can actually find it. I think RDS, uploaded the opening player introductions. I talked about that, of course, last game, along with the actual game, just a great fun game. But tonight, a little less fun for the first 2 periods, and then the third period that was just absolutely insane, which we'll of course talk about. However, beforehand, we gotta do the lines, because as we all know, you can't do a hockey game without having your lines in place. So, the opening lines for the Canadiens were Caufield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, Newhook, Kapanen, Demidov, Bolduc, Doc Gallagher, and Laine, Evans, Anderson up front. On the blue line, there would actually be a change, the first line change of the year. Well, the first official line change, and there would actually be a second one later in the game, too. Gooley, Hudson, Matheson, Dobson, and Struble, Carrier were on the blue line. Jakub Dobesh gets the start for the Canadiens, and Samuel Montembeault backs him up, I assuming just resting him up for Saturday against the Rangers. So yeah, Struble, he's in for Jack-Eye tonight, which is a choice, that's for certain. The opening lines for the Predators, spoilers, you will not recognize half these names if you don't extensively follow the NHL. Forsberg, O'Reilly, Stamkos, Jost, Svechkov, Evangelista, Bunting, Howla, Marchessault, and Smith, McCarron, and Weisblatt. That is Ozzy Weisblatt. Big shout out to him. Huge fan of him from me over here at the HabWrap headquarters. On the blue line, you had Willsby, Yossi, Shane Perbix, and Stasny Barron. That is right, Justin Barron still with Nashville after the trade for Carrier. Both of them playing the third right D position tonight. We'll see how both of them do. UC Saros, of course, goes in net for the Predators. He's having a great start to the season despite the team in front of him not necessarily being the greatest. And Justus Annunen will back him up, as I'm sure he was understandably doing. So, right out of the gate, we'll just get right into the notes, because, again, I don't like these going over half an hour. The Habs top line cycle in the opening minute just can't score, but during a line change, there's a Caufield chance just wide. Slafkovsky then has a tip, but that's also just wide. Preds then press. Dobesh holds on a Stamkos 5-hole chance. Whew. Gooley has a good hand-eye to break up a scoring chance, a breakaway chance. I said break up a break chance, but break up a rush breakaway chance for the Predators. And then my this note I love. Holy shit, Laine playing defense, which is legit. Great play there. He steals a pass. He steals a puck from behind, just strips a guy, and then he gets hooked and draws a penalty. So a very good shift for Patrick Laine. Would we see him for the rest of the game? Let's find out. The Habs go to the power play. McCarron's called to the box. The former Montreal Canadien, former first-round pick of the Montreal Canadiens, Michael McCarron, goes to the box for hooking. Habs cycle. Bolduc actually was moved from the slot to kind of the bumper, more or less the right circle area. Kind of behind the net. He was just all around that area. Less of being in the slot, surprisingly. Preds do clear after a look for Hudson. Demidov ends up speeding in, but that ends up being cleared. Dobson has a slapper that's stopped. He has a slopper that's slapped. Doc bobbles a rebound, but that gets cleared. So the Habs, unfortunately, 0 for 1 on the power play tonight. The Canadiens' power play continues to remain probably their biggest issue, which I think is actually fantastic. Considering their 5-on-5 play is solid for the most part. Their penalty kill is pretty good. The power play being the issue, I think this team, if they had a good power play, the team wouldn't have needed to get it done in the fashion that they did, I think. Which, again, I think is a great thing, that you're still playing well despite the power play struggles. Once the power play gets going, I think this team's going to be really, really good. Anderson has a shot from long range that's gloved. Habs then press. Good speed from Newhook to potentially beat an icing. I didn't hear it say that it was going to be an icing. I didn't hear the ref say it, but assumingly an icing. Second line then presses. Really nice finesse by Newhook to avoid getting pinned and generate a chance. Anderson has speed after a Preds turnover, but he ends up falling on a break. Dobesh, some good stops as the Preds got a rush chance suddenly. Demidov has a nice deke to shake Barron, but there's a bouncer that's just by Carrier, and Habs go offside. Doc's line presses. Struble has a shot that gets saved. Great save by Saros on the tip from Bolduc there. UC Saros played one hell of a game tonight. The Canadians should not have been out of it for as long as they were. I should say shouldn't have been leading for as long as they weren't. You get what I mean, I'm sure. Habs press with their top line. There's a shot with no screen, but that's gloved. Demidov fans on a shot from a blue line. Back the other way, a 3-on-1 for Forsberg. And Matheson, great defense to get back in time. Matheson had a couple mistakes, but for the most part, I actually thought he had an okay game tonight. Back the other way, there's a 2-on-1 for Newhook and Demidov. Newfie shoots, and a save by Saros. Dobesh then makes a great save on the Preds off of a solid tip in front with 5 minutes left. Preds then ice the puck after a puck battle. Habs can't generate anything, and the Preds the other way are shooting high and wide. Marchessault looks for something, but there's good speed by Matheson to fight him off with 2:40 left. 2:40, remember that. Shots are tied 6-6, and a scoreless first period. So, not even done with my third note of notes. My third page of notes, I should say. And we're already done the first period. Kind of a boring first, I'll admit. Not a ton of... Again, the shots were tied at 6 apiece. You know, there was not a ton there. It's not like, oh, big physical hits, a couple fights, and every chance was a great one. No, just some tip chances. The tip shot by Saros is really the high point of that first period. So, not a ton there, unfortunately, but... what does the second period have to offer? Well, keep listening and you're about to find out. God, rude. Dobson passes one out of the zone with some pressure after an icing. Preds then go offside right afterwards. Demidov, really good IQ guarding the puck, but there's a centering feed that goes off someone. Preds press. There are 0 shots. 0 shots in the first 4 minutes, which was... surprising. Also surprising, Preds then get 2 shots right afterwards. Their fourth line presses. Weisblatt nearly converts with a scramble in front. And never mind, both shots were actually wide. Cole Smith then goes to the box for a slash on Mike Matheson. Habs go to the power play. That's at 4:46. Oh, the first penalty. The Jost one, by the way, was 3:27 into the first. So... just 4:46 in, the Habs go to a power play again. Suzuki gets knocked down along the boards. Hudson, good speed to beat O'Reilly on a potential break. Slavkovsky goes coast to coast, but he just can't get the shot. Slavkovsky had a really good game. This is another one where, unfortunately, he doesn't... this is one where, unfortunately, he doesn't get a point. He's looked good. Like, I think if Slavkovsky had even 3 points... or 4 points after the first 5 games, I think that's underrating still how good he's played. I think Slavkovsky has been consistent. He's hitting. He's getting scoring chances. I think Slavkovsky's just a little snake bitten right now. I think Slavkovsky had another solid game, and I'm really, really looking forward to that 6-7 game stretch where he's gonna have 10, 11 points, because it's gonna happen at some point in the first 20-30 games. Slavkovsky is going to be due, and they're going to start going in for him sometime soon. I'm sure of it. Caufield nearly scores on the setup. The second unit look to press. They get nothing. Habs are 0 for 2 on the power play. The Habs lead the shots 7 minutes in. 1-0. Yes. 1 shot in the first 7 minutes of the game. This was looking like it was going to be a snoozer of a game. Look, the shots looked like they were probably going to end up being 18-16, and it's a 1-0, 2-0 type game, you know? Habs top line cycles. There's a good press by Caufield. He has a shot, but that's held. Good setup, but they just can't find it getting into the net. Second line, really solid stealing the puck. Great dangling from Demidov and Hudson. They use their legs to generate a chance. but they just get blocked, unfortunately. Predators set up, but any chances for them are just going wide. At this point, it's still single-digit shots for both teams. I think the Habs are leading 9-8, I think, when I put that note. And then the Habs go to a penalty kill, unfortunately. Zach Bolduc gets called for a hook on Tyson Josti. That is at 10:05. Tyson Jost is not... I like to call guys Josti. I like to call multiple guys Jost, even if their name has nothing to do with SNL legend Colin Jost. But Bolduc gets called, like I said, for hooking Jost. Matheson nearly springs Anderson on a 2-on-1, but he just can't feed him. That is still cleared, so that's fine. And then the Predators score. Steven Stamkos gets his first of the year. And it's not even his goal, really, which is kind of ironic. It goes off of Gouli and in off of a kind of backdoor pass. Stamkos was trying to feed Bunting, who was right in front, but it goes off Gouli's leg and in. That's bad puck luck for the Canadians. Stamkos scores that from Josi. I think you can see how I confused their names. From Josi and Evangelista at 11:36. The Habs are 0-for-1 on the penalty kill tonight. That would be the only goal for a long time. Spoiler alert. Habs try to press, but a puck gets cleared right in front of the net as Dobesh went to grab it. Both Struble and Hudson bail him out, and what would have been a clear 2-0 leading goal. Jesus Christ, that was close. I think I put the note. Yeah, I put the note a little bit down, but it's at this point Hudson and Struble are starting to get some defensive shifts together. So I think they're realizing that they wanted to give Struble a little bit of time to shine, which they've not done to Jack-Eye. So what better way to do it than pair him with the team's best offensive defenseman and let Struble hang back and play D. So, yeah, Habs then rush. Slavkovsky stopped by Saros with the gloves, 7 minutes left. So you can tell there's not a lot left because a goal with 11 minutes left and you're skipping ahead 2 minutes, not a lot in this game. I'm sure that's definitely what gave it away. After a near offside, Slavkovsky gets another look, but that's held. Preds press after some back and forth. A good stop on by Dobesh, and Ozzy Weisblatt bumps into him. Hudson cross-checks him. Struble gets him in a headlock. I like Ozzy, but you don't do that. You just don't do that. There's a ton of giveaways by the Habs at this stage. They were not playing well at this point. I said tonight for the most part. I guess I put that note because at this point they were not getting shots. I think they had 14 maybe shots with like 5 minutes left. They needed to be generating more offense, especially in a game that they needed to be in. They needed to be ahead in this game. They could not be losing to a rebuilding Predators team. But Dobesh, good stop on a Pred shot as Weisblatt was screening him. Habs with a rush chance as a near 3-on-2, but the Dobson shot gets deflected. There's a few loose rebounds. Bolduc shoots the rebound. Just gets fanned on by Brennan Gallagher. Habs were getting some momentum, though. Gallagher, if he could have buried that, I think that would have been his first of the year. That would have been huge for him, and I would love to see that. Gallagher's been having a really good start to the year, and hope to see that continue, because I think Gallagher has a 40-50 point season in him still. If he keeps playing this way, we'll see. Caufield nearly centers one to Suzuki on a rush break, but it goes off a Pred and into the corner. Top six was playing well. The Suzuki and Kapanen lines were really, really good, I thought, in the at late stages in the second. But of course, I say that Habs go to the penalty kill because of the top six. Ivan Demidov gets called with a minute 45 left. He's called for a hold on Spencer Stastny, not related to Paul and Peter and Anton, and I'm sure there's like two other, I think, Stasnys that I forgot to mention. That sucks. It's a slight weak call. I get why it's made, but it's a bit weak. Off the draw, Habs get a clear. Anderson on a rush drops it right to a Predator. Good shit, Andy. So Anderson, he was quiet. He was just doing his thing first couple games. And now he's going to look like Anderson of the past few years. God, please no, Andy. I've really liked not talking shit about you for 4 games. Might be a new streak, though. Predators then press, but they can't bury one. Evans clears with 10 seconds left. So these shots are 16-11 for the Canadians, but the Predators have a 1-0 lead after the second period. For the third period, The Habs killed it off. They are 1 for 2 on the penalty kill tonight. Anderson gets found on a rush, but he doesn't get a shot off in time. Nashville get a few tip chances. There's one wide, and one gets stopped by Dobesh. Habs then look to set up with the line change, or as I put, a line chance. There's some board play that eventually just leads to a hold by Saros. It was weird. Out of the scramble, the Predators just backhanded it, got to Saros, and he just held it. It was kind of weird. There's a sudden chance in the slot for Anderson. He gets it just off the mask of Saros. Habs can't buy a goal at this point. Habs press. All four lines are really working over the Predators. I thought that they were having a really, really good early third period. And we score because of it. Oliver Kapanen gets his own rebound right in front of the net, puts it 5-hole, and the game is tied 6:02 into the third. Kapanen with his third goal of the year in 5 games. He's got a really solid start to his season. His first 3 goals in the NHL. Good on him. He scores from Hudson and Gooley with his first assist of the year. Caden Gooley, his second point overall. Habs press, they were, like I said, they were hot this third period. There's a 4-on-2 after Gooley has his stick held behind the play. There's no goal. Habs just can't convert on that. Bolduc then in front as Gallagher nearly puts it home with a small bump on Saros to boot. Habs try to press, but there's good sticks by the Preds, not letting them get any more looks. Hudson has a nice hit on Howla behind the Habs net. Howla, who ends up taking Hudson's helmet off. Love to see the little guys throwing the body. This is what St. Louis talked about in preseason, how the Canadians they needed a little bit more grit naturally, not going out and adding it, but just naturally from within, getting a little bit grittier. This is a game where it showed that they wanted to win. Matheson gets a sudden burst. He gets it on net, but no goal there. Actually, legitimately a really solid chance there. However, because he doesn't score it, the Preds go back the other way, and they score. Nick Perbix with his second goal. I think they said his second game in a row with a goal. Preds lead at 2-1, 11:21 in, or 8:49. With 8:49 left in the game. Perbix scores that from former Montreal Canadian first-round pick in 2013, Michael McCarron. That sucks. Matheson, you got to think, is going to be blaming himself for that because he didn't score one way. However, he almost makes up for it. He has a good steal in his own zone. Too bad the team then turns the puck over 3 times in the next minute. Genuinely insane. And to make bad news worse, Gooley then goes down. He is slow to get up. That genuinely really, really sucks. If you're a Canadiens fan, like I am, obviously. It's weird. It would be kind of weird, wouldn't it, if I wasn't a Canadiens fan, but I'm doing a Canadiens podcast. It'd be very weird. I don't know what I'm trying to say. If you're a Canadiens fan, then you're gonna want to be keeping a close eye on Caden Gooley. I don't know what injured him. I don't know how he went down, but Gooley went down. I didn't see if he came back. I don't think he did. Really hoping it's just that he was stunned and he did come back for overtime, but because he's not normally on the lines for overtime, he just didn't play in overtime, and people didn't notice him. So I'm really hoping that that's what the case was. Regardless, if he has to be out, then that guarantees the Jack Guy's getting back in next game, and not the way you'd want him to get back in, obviously, but hopefully Gooley's fine, and hopefully, again, it was just maybe a stunner, maybe he blocked a shot, and it just hurt a little more than usual, but fingers crossed for Caden Gooley. Habs then press. There's, for the second line, Demidov has a shot just wide. It was a grade A scoring chance there. Doc then gets tripped by McCarron, and it is called with 5:40 left in the game. Michael McCarron is called for the trip on Kirby Dockles. Kirby Doc draws the penalty there. First unit set up, but there's no chances. Preds get a few clears. Second unit late in the power play. Demidov has a golden shot. Gallagher on the follow-up. That gets saved. The rebound on the line, and it's somehow cleared out. The Canadians could not buy a tying goal. They honestly, with the amount of chances, there were a few good chances. They should have been leading this 4-2 at this point. They should have had the Predators about to pull the goalie, not the other way around. Habs are 0 for 3 on the power play tonight. There's a sudden break for Caufield. The shot is just wide. It was a good shot. He just sent it a little bit high. Habs press with 2 minutes left. Good foot speed by Hudson to keep a puck moving. Habs pull the goalie. They pull Dobech with 1:45. Gallagher gives a puck away, and the shot is wide. The Preds ice it. Habs immediately take their timeout after the icing. Off the face-off, Habs set up in front. Off of a shot, a scramble. Demidov finds Caufield, and it's just wide. How are we not leading 3-2? Those last two chances should have gone in. I have no clue how the Canadians didn't go from trailing 2-1 to leading 3-2 in like 30 seconds of gameplay. Preds end up icing it with 50 seconds left, getting a bit greedy. Off the face-off, Habs try to press, but it ends up getting weirdly. Eventually, the Preds just kind of get it down. It's weird. It seemed like they were going in slow motion, but they eventually get it down, and they hit the empty net. Nope, they don't. Lane Hudson, with what might end up being the save of the fucking year. It's shot, and Hudson just blocks it, puts it down, and has the vision, immediately sends it right up to Cole Caufield. He gets on a break, and he scores with 20 seconds left. Cole Caufield ties the game up. Lane Hudson gets the assist there. A 2-2 tie game. The Bell Center goes flippin' wild. Bell Center is absolutely losing their mind. They're thinking that 2021, like Arturi Lehkonen just scored in Game 6 against Vegas. They were as loud as that, probably a little louder. So, the shots are 27-16 for the Canadians, and a 2-2 tie game as we are headed to overtime. In said overtime, Habs win the draw. Suzuki goes around the Preds net trying for a wrap, but good collapsing D. Caufield goes off for Demidov. Demidov finds Suzuki in the slot. What a one-timer just off the crossbar. The Canadians were so snake-bitten tonight. Despite going to overtime at this point in the game, they could not buy a goal. I don't know what it was, but there was just something about the Canadians. They had 5 or 6 prime scoring chances and couldn't do it. So frustrating. The other way, Marchessault gets a backhand. The rebound, Dobech has it, and Marchessault whacks at Dobech. Matheson doesn't do anything. I'm actually happy about that for once, because knowing the refs, that's a penalty in overtime, even if you're just defending your goaltender. But regardless, even if Marchessault whacked that loose and scored, it would have come off the board for goalie interference. Surely it would have had to. But Dobech holds. Demidov, nice stick to send a puck out of play, with Stamkos about to get a tap-in off the next face-off. Matheson gets a shot. The rebound, Suzuki gets stopped by Saros. Saros, again, had a great game tonight. I don't think his save percentage looks that great, unfortunately, but very good game for UC Saros. He showed that last year with a freaking 896 save percentage. He's shown that he's back. Habs look good. They get some momentum. Speaking of which, there's a 2-0 because a Demidov pass just goes off of UC Saros. Preds get it back the other way. It's for Forsberg, and it's gloved by Dobech. He wants to play it, sets it down, but doesn't realize Forsberg's right there. He covers it. He's scooting away from Forsberg, plays it out, and as it's on the stick of, I'm pretty sure it was Lane Hudson, it's blown down. Not for goalie interference, not for delay of game, because he covered it way out of the crease. Nothing like that. they blew it down because Dobesh covered it a second time, which I understand, but I just don't like that. Matheson breaks his stick on the next draw, so it's basically a 3-on-2.5. Shout out the hockey guy. Preds set up. There's a shot finally deflected out of play. Habs fans are very happy about that. Preds continue to set up. Good cycling for them. They just can't find any legitimate scoring threats. Habs then press in the last minute off a line change. Good chances. The Habs get Suzuki, Caufield, and Hudson back out there. There's a puck battle along the boards with 10 seconds left. The Preds they're just gonna force this one to go to a shootout. Suzuki wins it back, and oh my god, all of a sudden he's in on a 1-on-0, drops it. Caufield scores. Cole Caufield with 2 seconds left in overtime wins it in back-to-back games. Cole Caufield with his 5th of the year, 2nd overtime game-winning goal, 2nd straight overtime game-winning goal. The balls on Nick Suzuki to drop that, by the way. The dude has 0 goals. Could have been greedy, but he says, nope, I think this is the better play. Drops to Caufield, who puts it home. Caufield gets that goal from Suzuki and Matheson. So it wasn't Hudson, my apologies. It was unless Hudson was on, but he had gone for a line change at this point. Either way, it's Caufield from Suzuki and Matheson. Caufield goes right down the ice, hugs Dobesh. Everybody's on the ice to hug him. My God. Habs in the final moments snatch defeat and take the game. They tie it with 20 seconds left. Win it with 3 seconds left in overtime. What a phenomenal third period this was. What an excellent game overall. The final score is 3-2 Habs in overtime, and the shots are 30-19 for the Montreal Canadiens. So the final shots in that period ended up being 3-3 apiece. Yeah, the Canadiens are looking pretty good. We are 4-1-0 to start the year. Cole Caufield, I feel like I'd be hard-pressed if I don't mention this. Cole Caufield, before turning 25, is now tied with 10 for the most overtime goals in franchise history. He passed Aurel Juliet, and actually with the last game he passed Johnny Gagnon for second. He passed Aurel Juliet. He is now tied for first with Howie Morenz and Max Pacioretty. So if Caufield, which he very likely will, gets one more overtime goal this season, he will be first in the history books for the Montreal Canadiens in overtime goals. Very surprised Guy Lafleur isn't up there. Very surprised he or one of the Richards. Very surprised those guys. One of those guys aren't up there. But Goal Caufield is what I used to call him. You might as well call him Goal Clutchfield now, because holy shit, this kid is just. My mind is blown every time this kid does something phenomenal like this. There's a reason I have a Cole Caufield jersey. There's a reason I have that, and god damn it, I'm going to be wearing that next time I go out of the house, because it's going to be worth it. Just what a phenomenal game overall. It started off boring as hell, but I would say full third period and overtime really redeemed it. Really redeemed itself. Just a phenomenal game. The Montreal Canadiens win it 3-2 in overtime. And now, of course, as you guys hopefully know, if you guys have watched before, it's time for the Canadian stats, and then we get on out of here because we are over halfway, 30 minutes. We are at the 30-minute mark into the podcast, and so with that, made you guys think that I ended the podcast at the half-hour mark. No, I wouldn't do that to you guys. Don't worry. I wouldn't do that without my favorite Canadians fans getting their stats. So, Goal Caufield, Goal Clutchfield leads the Canadians with 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points. Nick Suzuki is tied for the lead in points, but Caufield gets present because goals. So Nick Suzuki has 7 assists. Zach Bolduc with 3 goals and assists for 4 points. Michael Matheson with a goal, 3 assists for 4 points. Brendan Gallagher and Lane Hudson each with 4 assists. Oliver Kapanen each with 3 goals. I don't know why I said each. Ivan Demidov with a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. Alex Newhook with a goal and an assist for 2 points, as well as Alex Carrier and Kirby Doc and Caden Gooley each have a goal and assist for 2 points. Noah Dobson's got 2 assists. Yuri Slavkovsky surprisingly with just a goal. Arbor Jacki and Patrick Laine each with an assist. Caden Gooley also has the only fight on the season so far. So yeah, that is going to do it for this game, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Harry Rice. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful time watching this episode of the HabWrap. Do not forget to subscribe if you're on YouTube, follow if you're on Spotify or listening anywhere else, Amazon, Apple Music. I don't know if these are on Apple Music, where I have the SSS feed enabled, so who knows? Yeah. All that good stuff. Thank you all so much for watching. Go Habs go, no matter how good we are like last year, how great we're looking like this year. Adam Royale, and say it with me, everybody. C'est la boo!